Hi class, how you guys doing? All right, welcome to week three. Last week during week two, yes, we started our deep dives looking into the principles of design. Last week, we took a good close look at the principles of emphasis and contrast. We're going to follow that up this week by looking at the principle of balance. Now, those of you who have noticed, the class scaffolds off the foundation from the previous week. So, for example, during week two, we looked at emphasis and contrast. During week three, we're looking at balance. So it stands to reason in your writing and your response posts for discussion board, you are going to incorporate both the principles we learned during week two and in week two. So in other words, when you write your synopsis and your reactions and observations based on your assignments as well as your reactions and your responses to your peers' assignments, you're going to talk about both emphasis and contrast and balance. And then next week we'll add in the subsequent principles so that by the end of the week we're talking about all principles as opposed to concentrating on one per week. Does that make sense? I shouldn't say concentrating on, as opposed to only talking about one per week. We are concentrating on one per week, but we're adding that to our arsenal of knowledge for principles of design by adding and scaffolding off the previous week's principles. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and jump in. This week we're talking about balance, specifically looking at the difference between symmetry and asymmetry and balance and the characteristics therein. The textbook reading is excellent, and I've also included several resources as usual in the course announcement. We'll look at those in a second. But we've got a few things this week. We got a few things out. It's actually a pretty busy week, guys. These are the resources I was talking about. We have compositional symmetry and asymmetry. You want to take a look at that. You want to look at balance in graphic design in general, and then balance of principles of graphic design. That's a video, so it's pretty engaging. So be sure to take a look at those resources. And of course, now's a great time to mention that these resources are here as a way to supplement your course and the course resources and not to replace them. So in other words, don't look at these and think they're going to replace the course materials. So you want to look at both. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we have for week five. For week three. So week three, we have the chapter 4 overview on balance, and then we have the lecture. Now, those of you, actually, I got some emails last week about regarding students saying they appreciate the video lectures, and that's no problem. I prefer giving video lectures as opposed to simply an auto recording. I think it's just a little bit more engaging. Plus, I can show examples too. So we've got the overview of the chapter 4 lecture. There's a video in there. And we have the discussion forum. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So discussion forum for week 3 is you're going to find an advertisement, same as last week, and you're going to talk about balance. You're going to talk about symmetry and asymmetry, all of the observations and the conclusions that have been covered in the lecture and the course material. So please read through the course materials, view the course lecture, and take a look at all of the examples before you start week 3 discussion questions. Another thing I want to draw your attention to is the fact that in addition to describing balance as being asymmetrical or symmetrical, I want you to talk about the use of white space. And also, going back and hearkening back to what we learned last week, you're also going to talk about emphasis and contrast. So we're looking at exposing whether this is asymmetrical or symmetrical, describing the reasons why, describing the characteristics of asymmetrical versus symmetrical, explain the use of white space as it relates to the balance of that composition, and then of course we're going to talk about emphasis and contrast in use in the ad as a way to kind of reinforce last week's learning materials. Okay, that's week 3 discussion forum. Let's go ahead and take a look at week 3 written exercise, and I've got that up right here. Here it is. So in week 3 written exercise, you're going to take a look at this article right here. Basically, guys, this is just a way for you to become familiar with iconic and famous and graphic designers that have had some sort of a remarkable contribution to the field in and of itself. And this really illustrates the importance of understanding history as it relates to contemporary graphic design by studying historical figures and their contributions to the industry as a whole. So again, this is 2 to 3 page paper, guys. 500 to 600 minimum word count, guys. Now I'll copy and paste this right into Word to do an actual word count. So I do count words. Yes, I don't necessarily count every individual word, but as we know, Microsoft Word Tools has a word count feature. So I do record the words. So definitely want to stick to that 500 to 600 word minimum. APA format, guys. One designer interested you explain why you chose the designer, write a 2 to 3 page, 500 to 600 word minimum, explaining why I need to know who they are and okay, why I need to know who they are and why. Okay, so why do I need to know who the designer is? And let's go. So you're going to explain the designer and explain really their profound contributions and why it would behoove a graphic designer student to know this particular designer. Please use APA format. Okay, and there's our submission area. So that's that for the written exercise. So we can, at this point, jump over to week 3 company choices, guys. This is interesting because this looks at, this is related to the final project. Now, if you take a look at the syllabus, here's the Gen Ed task assignment, which is the final project. So in the final project, you're going to select 3 existing companies, campaigns, and you're going to create a new logo and advertising for it. So you're going to select one of 3. You're going to select 3 companies, email those companies to me, and then we're going to narrow that down. But I think at this point it would be a great idea for you to review the final concept as it is summarized in this. Right now I'm in the course syllabus, guys. So if you go down to Gen Ed task, right here. Gen Ed task assignment. This is the final project right here. So you can go ahead and read about that. Okay, guys, that's what I have. Oh, and then, of course, we've got the quiz, right? And everyone's doing great on the quiz, so I don't even really think we need to take a look at that. But, yeah, listen, guys, I think everyone's doing a really great job. And based on the emails I'm getting, the comments I'm getting, the activity and the engagement in the discussion board and associated response posts, the written assignments, you guys are a good group. You guys get it. You're getting it. And that's a fantastic treat for me because basically it's a pleasure to work with such an engaged group. So guys, please keep up the great work. And I'm talking about the whole group. So in general, we've got a nice forward progress here and people are understanding the concept. So that's a wonderful luxury as an instructor. So please, guys, keep up the fantastic work. And at this point, again, I just want to say, again, welcome to week 3. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, clarifications, or if I can answer anything regarding not only this week, but last week as well, or assignments coming up, specifically the final assignment, please let me know and I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. Okay, guys, again, welcome to week 3. I'll see you in class. Thank you very much.